Hi everyone, it's Krista and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new, hi again. So everyone, this is my channel. I love to make DIYs. I love to do thrift flips, and I also love to make wreaths. So if you like what you see here, you know what to do. Just hit that red subscribe button. And also, if you could leave me a comment, that would be great. I love to hear what you guys think, and give me a thumbs up. That helps my channel grow. Also, I am on Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. Yes, I am on TikTok, guys. So make sure you check me out there too. I will have all these links down below. My wreath shop. I have an Etsy shop. Today is all about flipping for fall, and our host is Crafty Hints. Co-host is Rustic and Lace, and co-host is 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. More about that in a minute. Let's get into DIY number 1. So DIY number 1, the first thing I'm doing here is I'm taking one of these houses, picture frames from the Dollar Tree, some scrapbook paper, some leaves, some moss, and some of these pumpkins in 3 different sizes. And some of these little picks that I had from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to be using some antique wax, white chalk paint, this burnt orange, and pumpkin orange. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back part out of the picture frame, and I'm going to take the glass out and everything. We're not going to be needing the glass or anything inside of it, so we're just going to get rid of all that. And what I'm going to do is that little flap, I'm going to rip that off. It's just attached, really easy to come off. And I'm just tearing that off. And then we're going to take those little clips that we had to lift up. I'm going to lift those out as well with my little pliers. I just pulled them out, and they're really easy to come out. And then once I got those out, I came in with my Truffle by Waverly, and I am going to paint this whole frame with the Truffle paint. I wanted to do antique wax, but this is plastic and it would not stay on it. So we had to use the Truffle, but the Truffle worked out just fine. I actually liked it better, so it worked out for the best. So I'm painting the front and the back, and I'm getting in all the little nooks and crannies. I don't care if a little bit is showing of the wood, that it looks like wood, even though it's plastic, because I wanted that to show through a little bit. And then I also have this little wood piece that I'm going to be using just to set my frame on top of, so it stands up. Next, I'm coming in with the white chalk paint, and I'm using my little stencil brush, and I am just like dabbing the edges, giving it a little definition. So I'm just going along the edges of it and barely touching it, just getting in those nooks and crannies, because I want to have like a little dry brush, make it look a little rustic. So I do that on the one side, and then the other side I'm going to go a little bit heavier, because one side's going to be fall, and then when you turn the other side around, it's going to be Christmas. So you'll see here, I'm going a little bit heavier on this side. I want it to look like there's snow on the rooftop. So I'm dabbing a little bit more on there to make it look like snow. Then I'm going along the edges as well, on this side, and along the inside edges as well of this picture frame. So a lot of edges you got to get with these picture frames, but this comes out looking so absolutely gorgeous. I'm absolutely in love with it. And yeah, so then I did a little bit extra on the bottom as well, because I wanted it to look like there was snow on the bottom. And then once that was all done, I came in and did a heavier brush on top as well. And then I did the sides with a little bit of a lighter brush, because I wanted some of that brown to still show through. And then next, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do a really light dry brush for our fall side that I'm going to be doing. And then I'm also going to take that wooden piece that we're going to be putting on top, and I'm going to dry brush that as well with the white chalk paint. I'm going to go on the edges first, and then dry brush the whole thing as well. So it all looks like one piece, and it all is cohesive and together. And next, we're going to come in and cut our pumpkins. So I want these pumpkins to be in half. So first I had to pull out the little trunk on them, and I kept them because we're going to use one of them. And next I came in with my little utility knife. Now, be very careful if you make this that you don't cut yourself because these are kind of hard to get apart. So I just went through with my utility knife and went around the whole thing. And then I thought it would break apart, but it didn't. So what I did is I took my butter knife that I keep on my craft table, and I just took that and I just kind of stuck it down the middle, and then it came apart. And then I just cleaned it up a little bit because I want my pumpkins to sit flat on my board. So that's what I'm going to do there. And then I did the same thing with the other two. Okay. Next, I came in with Moon Yellow by Folk Art paint, and I mixed it with the pumpkin orange color, and I just made it like an orangey, a really light orange yellow color. And I just went in and painted the one pumpkin that color, and then the next one I painted with the burnt orange color by Folk Art, and these are just acrylic paints. And I did only give them one coat, I believe. I don't think I did 2 coats. I might have. I don't know. But you leave it up to you. And then I came in with the white chalk paint and did the little one in white. Now I'm going to take my antique wax and my little stencil brush, and I am going to go in between those little grooves that are on our pumpkins, and I'm going to make them look more realistic looking, I guess, and give them like a little dirty look. I don't know. Make them look like pumpkins, like real pumpkins. And it just gives them a little more definition and a dimension, and I love that. And I'm just using a baby wipe as I stencil it on, and then I'm just wiping really lightly with the baby wipe and going in between. And you can use, whatever you want. You don't have to use a baby wipe. I just did. And you could use like just a regular napkin or something, or a paper towel. And then on the big one, I went in between a little bit darker because I wanted it to show a little bit more. And then I just went really lightly with the baby wipe. I didn't go really harsh because I wanted it to really stick in between those grooves so you could see it. And that's what I did with that one. And I went along the edges as well, the top and the bottom, all around the whole edges of it, because you will see it when you lay it down flat. And yeah. And then once I got all those grooves done, then what I did is I came in with my scrapbook paper. So this scrapbook paper came out of a pad that I've had like for ages of fall. I believe I got it at Michael's, but Hobby Lobby has all kinds of papers you can buy individually if you want. And I used my glue stick and I glued the fall one down on one side. And then the other paper I have is of snowflakes. And that scrapbook paper I did on the other side. So I just traced that one out and stuck that on that side. Same exact thing, only 2 different holidays. And I love doing these because it's so much fun because you have one piece that you can use for 2 times of the year. And it can leave it out for a very long time. So, which is super cool. So then once I get those down, now we're going to glue them inside. So there is a little, if you do use these little houses, there's a little ledge on the inside that you could put the glue, and you could just secure it in there with the glue. And then I just popped it in, made sure it was all nice and glued down. And now we're going to start with the fall side first. So now I'm stacking my pumpkins to make sure they're all nice. And they're all going to fit together perfectly. And then I'm going to take some of that Spanish moss, and I am going to glue that down on the bottom. And I'm going to use a lot of hot glue, so be very careful that you don't burn your fingers, because I always burn my fingers because I forget to put my little finger things on. I always forget. But yeah, so then I glued that down, and then we're going to glue down our pumpkin next, the big one on top of that. First, I trim it a little bit with my scissors because you know that Spanish moss goes everywhere. And I just trimmed it up, made it look nice and neat. And then I glued down my first pumpkin. And I'm cleaning up my mess. Sorry, I'm leaving all these parts in. And then I'm going to glue it down. And then I'm going to put some Spanish moss on top of that pumpkin. Just a little pile of it on top. And I'm going to do that between each layer of the pumpkins. Just to give it a little more something, and make it look a little more decorative and pretty for fall. And then I glued that piece down. And then I glued the next pumpkin down. And I kept doing it till I got to the white pumpkin. And then I took the little stems that we took out in the beginning, and I used the smaller stem, and I stuck it on the top white pumpkin on top. I just glued it down. And now we're going to take another little piece and glue that on. Now, I left all these steps in because I wanted you guys to see every, what I'm doing here in case you decide you want to do it. And I'm thinking about making a couple more of these for like my craft fairs, because people absolutely love reversible things that they can use because they're getting more for their dollar, you know what I'm saying? And they get to use it longer. So, and then I just stuck in that little stub for the trunk for the pumpkin on the top. And there it is. And now we're going to come in with even more stuff. So, I mean, you could leave it like that if you want to, but I wanted to add a little more. So I came in with some of these little greenery picks that are from the Dollar Tree. And I stuck 2 of these down, 1 on each side. And then I came in with some of those sunflowers in each color. I did the cream color and the darker orange and then the yellow. And I just stuck them wherever I wanted, where I thought I needed something. And this just turned out so cute, you guys. I can't even say it enough. This one is my favorite, but the last one is my favorite too. So I kind of have like 2 favorites. So like I'm not really sure like which one I like more. But I like both. So, and my dog is driving me crazy. He doesn't know what he wants to do. Come on. Come on. So he's old, so I have to pick him up to put him on my bed because he can't jump up anymore. Poor thing. And I'm just finishing up putting in my flowers, and then we're going to turn it around to the other side, and we're going to do the other side, which is going to be a snowy scene. And I wonder if you guys can guess what we're going to do on the other side. I end up doing a snowman. So there's that side. Now we're going to flip it over and we're going to do that side. So I took some of these styrofoam balls from the Dollar Tree, and I took the 3 different sizes that I was able to manage to find. They do have a lot of these out this year. And I cut them in half just like I did with the pumpkins. And we're going to do a snowman now on this side. So I did the same thing with my little knife, and then I went in with my butter knife. And I like butchered these. These were hard to get apart. But it was okay because snowmans aren't perfect, right? So then I took some black felt, and I needed to make a hat for the snowman. So I just took a square piece that I cut out, and I put it on a piece of leftover cardboard that I had. And I just cut that out, and then I did the little brim of the hat, and I did the same thing just to make it a little more sturdy. And then I went in with chalk paint, and the styrofoam balls soak up paint so bad. So like these took forever to dry, and I only did a little light brushing on them. So then I took some polyfill, and I just did the bottom with a bunch of with some hot glue, and I used that as my snow. So I just put some of that on the bottom. And then we're just going to stack our little pumpkins next. Pumpkins. Oh my God. A snowman. Oh my goodness. So then I'm going to stack my snowman next. I am so tired. This is the second time I'm doing this voiceover because the first time something went wrong and I don't know what it was. So hopefully this time it's working. And now I'm going to glue the next one and then the smaller one on top. And then we're going to decorate our snowman to make him actually look like a snowman. So we're going to put the hat down, and then we're going to do a little scarf. And for this scarf, I'm just going to use ribbon, but you could use, Dollar Tree has all kinds of fabric now, so if you could find Christmas fabric, go for it. But it's what I had on hand. I don't have my Christmas stuff out yet. So doing these Christmas, I had to use whatever I could find, because I was not going to pull out all my boxes and all my stuff to make this, because it would just been ridiculous. And then I took some of these little sticky little dot things that they have at the Dollar Tree. They're stickers and they're just little dots. And I painted them black because we're going to make his little buttons. And then this is the ribbon I used. I had this from last year. And I liked the baby blue color. I just thought it was really pretty. So I decided to use that. And I'm just going to make it look like a scarf. So I'm just going to glue it down on one end, bring it over, and then bring it down like a scarf. And then I'm going to glue another piece coming across, going the other way. So it looks like it's tied and it's on him and it's like around his neck. You see what I'm trying to do? I don't know. It's better if you watch and I don't explain. And then I'm just going to glue that down. I wanted it to look like it was kind of crinkled up a little bit. And yeah. And then once I got that all glued down, then I glued down his little buttons and his little face. And then for the arms, I took one of these picks. These look like little branches to me. So I just took off the little fuzzy things that are on the end. I don't know what they are, little cotton things. And I just used those as my little arms for my snowman. And these worked out perfect. So, and I know they have these all the time at the Dollar Tree, so I'm sure you could find them still. And these are more like a fall pick anyway, so. But I had these left over from last year. I have so much stuff, you guys, from last year. And then I took a seashell, one of these tiny seashells that you could get at Dollar Tree that look like it looks like a carrot. So I painted it orange and I'm gonna stick it in its nose, and that's gonna be the carrot nose for my little snowman, which is perfect. I actually made some coastal because I live in Florida, so I made some coastal Christmas DIYs. I could actually link that down below if you guys would like to watch that as well. And I used a seashell for the snowman's nose, which was perfect. So I actually like that. And then I stuck the littler ones that I painted black, which were like those little pearls. And I just stuck those on for his nose and his mouth. And then that was it for this DIY. The only thing left was for me to put it on the actual little stand that we did earlier. And I'm going to use some wood glue and hot glue because I want to make sure it's a sturdy piece and it's going to stay put and not fall or break. And that's it for this DIY, you guys. So there is the first one. Isn't it cool? You guys got to let me know which one you like the best in the comments. But I like the way this one turned out too. So this is all about flipping for fall. Like I told you, we're making reversible items that you can use for different seasons or holidays or whatever. And these are the hosts, and I'm going to have the playlist down below of everyone who's participating. So please make sure you go show them some love and maybe subscribe to their channels. That would be nice too. So now on to DIY number 2. So I'm taking one of these little pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, wood pumpkins, taking all these little nooks and crannies. We are going to make a snowman on one side of this and a scarecrow on the other. So the first thing they did was sand off all that glitter and stuff on the one side. And I tried to sand it down as much as possible. And then I went in with my white chalk paint on one side. And the other side, I went in with the mushroom color by Folk Art. It's an acrylic paint. And I went in on that side with that one. And then what I did is I took one of the, triangle planks that you could get in a package from the Dollar Tree. I took one of those. I cut it in half, and one of the huge popsicle sticks, and I did jumbo ones, and I just kind of measured out how long I wanted the brim of my hat to be. And I used those to make hats for both sides of my snowman and my scarecrow. And I use these really good scissors. These scissors are awesome because they cut all my popsicle sticks and everything. But the actual planks I did cut with my little saw. And then I just kind of like, after I cut them, I made sure that I just, brushed them with my, oh my God, sandpaper. Oh my God, I can't talk. And next I came in with my black ink paint and I did the brim of this snowman's hat with that color. And then of course the brim of the hat for the scarecrow, I used Truffle by Waverly chalk paint, and I did that hat with that color. And then once I got those all done and they were all dry, then I just glued them together, and then I glued them onto the actual piece that we're using. Super easy. This was super easy to make. The only thing I didn't like that came out, and I did paint both sides of these because I want to make sure, so you can't see because you're flipping them over, I want to make sure that they're, you know, everything was all nice and done and painted completely. And then what I did is I glued on my little hats, and I made sure that when I glue them on that they were both perfectly even on both sides. So when you flip it over, you don't see the other hat. Do you know what I'm saying? See? You want to make sure they're both perfectly lined up together. And then I noticed you could see the white on the top part. So I just came in and painted that with the truffle. And that helped cover it, and it looked a lot better. So now I am just free drawing the face of the scarecrow and the snowman. So don't judge me. Because I am no means perfect at this at all, okay? So I like the way it turned out, but I don't like the way it turned out. I think that the eyes and the nose and everything turned out okay, but the mouth, he looks angry or sad. I don't know. But I'm going to figure out how to fix it. But I didn't in the video, but I will fix it because I did not like the face. So, I mean the mouth. So I have to fix that. But you guys let me know in the comments. And you can be, I'm okay with criticism. I like to get criticized sometimes because I think it's good. You know, it just makes you become a better crafter, right? So then I just made the little lines like stitches, you know, for his nose. And then see, look at, I don't like that. But yeah, that's the way, I mean, think about it. That's how they look. But I could have made him a little bit happier, right? So, but that's okay. And then I put little dots in his eyes. And I used my, I used my acrylic markers to do this. I was not going to use a paintbrush because I knew I would screw it up. So, and I love my acrylic paint markers. So if you want to know where I got them on Amazon, and I will have that link down below. These last forever, and I love them. So there he is, all nice and cute. And now I'm going to put like one of these leaves that I got off the pick there with these sunflowers, and I'm going to put that down first. And then I'm going to stick the sunflower in the center. And that's one side. And then the other side, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make the face of our little snowman. Now, the snowman turned out okay, I think. I don't know. And I did him next. I mean, for free drawing. And I did it with pencil first. And that's what you should always do first. But you'll see in the big DIY that I have coming up next, I did a bigger version of this. And I actually have a template that I printed out on my printer that I will have down below. I will have it linked for you in the description box so that you guys can print it out also if you would like to use it, because it works and it looks a lot better. So, but I couldn't find a small one, but I'm sure if I would have had enough time to look for one, I probably would have found one. But this was fine. And then I did his little carrot nose, and then I made his mouth. And he looked mean too, or sad. So I actually fixed his mouth. But yeah. And then I colored in his nose with my orange marker. And then we're going to decorate the brim of his hat as well, his little hat. And I did put the little white dots in his eyes because I think that just makes the eyes come more to life. And then I just took this one piece that I had of a pick that I had, and I just dry brushed it to make it look like snow was on it with the chalk paint. And then I just kind of bent it in half, and I'm just going to glue that on the top part of his hat. And then that little berries and these pine cones that I had, I just cut them apart, and I just glued a few onto that little piece. And that was it for the snowman and the scarecrow. And I think these turned out super cute. I absolutely love the way they turned out. And yeah. And then once I got the berries on, that was it for this DIY. And I kept on cutting it because these had wires all in them. They were like kind of like a cluster, but I wanted to like kind of glue them on where I wanted them. I didn't want them like in a cluster like that. So I had to take it all apart, which was fine. It just took a few more minutes of gluing them on, but it worked. And then I just glued the little berries in. I think I did one on top and one on the bottom. And I think that was it. I can't believe I left all this in for you guys. I'm so sorry. And there it is. And here it is. There's one side, and there is the other. And here's a close-up. And this next DIY, we're doing a bigger version of this, which is super fun. I absolutely love it. I sold it at my craft show several times, and people love these. So I took these 4 signs from the Dollar Tree. These are the big ones. They have beware on them, and they're kind of like have edges on the bottom. So I'm using those. I'm using some stir sticks, the big ones from Lowe's, and I'm also using my markers, some ribbon, a pick that I had, some of this burlap ribbon, and then the colors I'm using are the black ink, the sandstone by Waverly, and also the truffle and the white. And first thing I'm going to do is I face them different ways, because you see the little holes, we're going to cover those. And so that I don't have to fill the holes all the way through, you reverse them, okay? Makes it easier to fill the holes. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking the wood glue from the Dollar Tree. It's not no special glue, it's just the wood glue. And I'm drizzling that all over. And then I'm going to take my hot glue. And this is Gorilla Glue hot glue that I'm using in my glue gun. And I'm gluing them together. So now we're going to flip it over on top of the other one. Like so. And this makes them more sturdy, and you have a surface now to work with. You don't have to worry about getting all that stuff off. And then I'm just going to fill my holes. But see how the holes are on opposite sides? Now when I fill the holes, I don't have to worry about going all the way through, because that would have been a lot. And then I did the same thing with the other 2, because you have 4 now you're using, okay? So I did the same thing with the other 2. And I used my wood glue, my hot glue, and I used a lot of it to make sure it was going to stay stuck together. And then I just glued those 2 together, and then I filled those holes up with the stuff from the Dollar Tree, the little filler. Now I'm taking the paint stirrer sticks, and I cut off the edges so that I don't have that curvy piece, okay? That's all I cut off. And I made these even, and now I'm just doing the one with the truffle, and then the other one with the black ink paint. And these are the chalk paints by Waverly. And I just made sure I got the sides, all of it. Front, back, the whole thing, because you want to make sure it's all complete in case there's any pieces showing. And then once those dried, I just sanded them so that my holes, you don't see them. And now I'm going to glue the 2 pieces together with the wood glue and the hot glue. Really easy. And my glue gun was not working. And it kept coming out. I don't know why. And then I just stuck them together. Yes. And I made sure they were stuck together. I didn't touch them for a bit. Then once they were nice and stuck together, I'm going to use doing my brim, and I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to glue it down with the wood glue and the hot glue. And I don't know why I did the ends, because I didn't need to. I had to wipe that off, so just so you guys know. I did notice that. And then I did the same thing on the other side. And you want to make sure that the other side, that they're both on top of each other so you don't see them. Now the top of the hat, the top portion where the brim of the hat is, now I'm going to paint that all black with my black ink paint, okay? Get in all the nooks and crannies. And I'm also going to do some shiplap marks with these as well, because I like that look, and it's the rustic look, and I love it. And you'll see I do make some marks with that. And then I did the same thing with the truffle on the other side of where our scarecrow is going to be. And then the bottom part, of course, is going to be white on the one side where the snowman is. And then the bottom of this one where the scarecrow is, I use the sandstone color. But you can use whatever color you have or whatever colors you want to use. This sandstone comes out light in the beginning, but then it does get a little bit darker as it dries. And yeah, just be really careful because I did get some on the brim of my hat, but it was easy to wipe off with the baby wipe. And I just touched up whatever, I needed to. And then there it is, all done. And now we're doing the white side with the white paint. And then I used my ruler and I made those shiplap marks. I did every 2, as you could see. Now these are the actual images that I printed out on regular printing paper on my printer. And now we're just going to use, I have a charcoal pencil that I use, and I just shaded the one side. On the opposite side, you're going to shade, okay? Because that's what's going to be like our carbon that's going to be able to, when we turn it over, trace onto our board, if that makes sense. If not, just watch what I'm doing, because that's what you got to do. And this makes a perfect face for your snowman and your scarecrow. So I will have that link down below too as well, in case you guys want to use it for any projects that you want to do. Even if you don't want to make these, you can use it for whatever. And yeah. And then I just traced it. I just turned it over and traced it. And see, it traces right onto your wood. And that's it. And then I went in with my markers, which I absolutely love. And I will have that link down below as well for these markers. I get them on Amazon and they have been lasting forever. But these faces came out really cute because I had the image. So this worked out very, very well. And I love the way the faces turned out on this. And I did this last year, like I said, and I sold 2 of these at my craft show, and people loved them. And I wish I could have made more, but I would have had to get more of the signs, and they're really hard to get a lot of those signs. And I'm hoping this year when they put the Halloween signs out that they have these kind, because I like the edges of the signs. I just think it gives it more interest. It makes it look more rustic looking. I don't know. It gives it more character, and I just like it better. And then I came in with my orange marker and did his nose. And then I went over it with the black just to define it more so you could see it more. And I love the way this turned out. This one was my favorite. The first one and this one is my favorite. I just have to say that. I mean, I like the little one, but I wish I would have made the faces better. Oh, and then I came in with some Distress Oxide. This is called Worn Lipstick. You can get this in the craft section, in the scrapbook section, where they have their stamp pads. And I just used a makeup brush, and I made little cheeks. Little rosy cheeks for our snowman. And I did the same thing, which you will see for the scarecrow as well. But first, I'm going to decorate his little hat on top. So I took some of this ribbon that I had left over from last year. Everything's from last year. And I cut a piece off, and I glued that to the top of his hat. And then that little piece that you saw that I had, I just tore that off of a pick, that greenery piece. And I just used that to decorate the top of his hat, because it had the little berries on it. But I do dry brush it with some white chalk paint to make it look snowy. That's the trick. Use the chalk paint to make your stuff look snowy. And I'm telling you, the greenery, you can make it look snowy. It's so simple to use the chalk paint. You just do a dry brush and it's so easy. And I just glued that down. And then there it is. And now I'm just going to take it with my chalk paint, my little stencil brush, and I just went over it, dry brushed it with a really light coat. And I even did the berries a little bit. And then I just glued it onto his hat. Super, super simple. And then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the other side. Isn't he cute? And then we're going to do the other side. And I did the same thing. I'm just repeating the same thing. Turned it over. Used my little... If you don't have one of these charcoal pencils, you could just use a regular pencil. Just make sure you do it dark. And just, shade it. And then you just trace over it when you put it in the spot that you want it on your board. And it draws it on there for you. It's just like carbon paper, you guys. So easy. And there it is. And now we're going to go over it. Same thing with our markers. Same exact thing I did. Super cute, you guys. I love the way this turned out. I hope you guys like it too. And then I did his little eyes. The only thing is, I don't think I did the white dots in their eyes. I have to go back and do that because I don't think I did it. I forgot. Oh, man. That's okay. I'll just fix it. And then I did his nose orange as well. And then I'm going to take some raffia and I'm going to glue that on top. I wanted to put a little bit of hair underneath his hat. So I just glued it down, and I didn't want the raffia to be sticking out on the other end because we're going to be seeing the other side because that's where the snowman is. So first I traced out his nose, and I wanted to make little stitches in his nose. So I made those little lines, you know, like that to make the little stitches to match his mouth. I just thought it would be cuter, and it did. I liked it a lot better. And then I took this big sunflower that I had on a pick, and I just took it off and glued that down. And then I just bunched up a bunch of the raffia, and I just glued it underneath I just put a whole bunch of glue underneath the sunflower, and I glued that down. I wanted something else coming out of the sunflower. I just felt like it needed something. So that's what I did. And I used my little makeup tool to hold it down. The little silicone brushes that they have at the Dollar Tree, those work so well. So you don't burn your fingers. And then I just trimmed everything, okay? Because I don't want that raffia sticking out on the other end. Because our snowman's on the other end, right? So then to make the hair on the sides, I just took those pieces off that were hanging off. And I just glued them down on the side so that you don't see them on the other side. Get what I'm saying? Just watch me because it's better than me explaining. Sometimes I just don't explain things well, so I apologize for that. And then I took the little burlap ribbon that I showed in the beginning, and I just cut out a little square, and I took some of the pieces out so it looked like it was like, you know, like a patch, and I just glued that down. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give him little rosy cheeks. Why not? Right? He has to have rosy cheeks too. And there it is, you guys, all done. Because I absolutely love this DIY. It's so much fun to make. So I hope you guys try it out. And if you do, send me pictures. My email address is down below. So in the description box, so you can email me your pictures. I would love to see them if you make it. And then I could showcase it on my channel if you like. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check everybody out. And remember, stay crafty. Bye.